Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor, which is due unto Yahweh Bashmi al Shai Bahasham Kadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great Muslim of well, and shalom to the elect of Yahweh Shai, the elect of Israel. And I wanted to do a lesson, and pretty much on this video here. And also, I was having I was reasoning with some brothers about, we were just venting and reasoning about how wicked this society is and different things. As I was reasoning with them, I was reading this Yahoo News. It says Brazil High Court rules homophobia punishable by prison in landmark decision. Right? So pretty much, if you come up against, if you got homophobic slurs or you come up against the happy people, then in Brazil, you can that's punishable by a prison sentence. And that influence stems from the modern day Sodom, okay, which is America, okay, which is also known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures, right? In fact, let me get that precept on that. Let's get Revelation. Bear with me. This is Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. It says, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified." Now, spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, man. All right, and that great city in Revelation 11 and 8 is talking about America, okay? That's where, that philosophy that is really heavily pushed from, same-sex marriage, LGBTQs, and the happy people, okay? And that's part of the influence it has upon the world. That's part of its philosophies, its wine, right? Now, specifically, I wanted to focus on Sodom, okay? Now, I was watching this video, right? And the title is Sodom Discovered by Archaeologists with Dr. John Bergsma. Now, whether they've actually found it or not, or whether it's a different place, I haven't, I'm not going to say for sure that's what it is. But what I will say is that where they said the ancient cities were, where they found these places, this is like 15, 20 years ago or something that this guy is saying on the screen, right? And they found it on basically the east of Jordan, okay? And when you look into the scriptures to where Lot went, in fact, let's get that. Let's go to Genesis 13, because it all goes back to the scriptures. Okay. Now the herdmen of Abram and Lot were they were going at it. So pretty much, they went their separate ways, so they could have more. They could have their own kind of land in a sense, right? Now, let's read it from Genesis 13 and 10. "And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separate themselves the one from another." And when you look up the plain of Jordan, you can see the area that is in the land of Israel, and that matches up with what the guy was describing in the video, okay? Now, the main point I wanted to touch on, right, and I just mentioned that, okay, if you watch the video, okay, and I'll try and put it in the description of this video for you to watch. Now, the interesting thing is that he said he went to this kind of seminar 15, 20 years ago or whatever, and as he's listening, he's starting to realize that the people who are making this presentation are talking about two cities. They're archaeologists. Two cities that they've basically, digging up things from. And he's very quickly realizing that they're alluding to the fact that it might be the biblical Sodom and Gomorrah, which, was 5 cities destroyed. But the ones that they even mentioned in this video that Sodom and Gomorrah was very vast and riches. The scriptures mention Sodom and Gomorrah. It also mentions the 5 cities. Okay, there's 3 other cities that were destroyed. Right, bear with me. Now, in this video, when this guy hears that, the first thing he says is, "Was there any arrows?" And he explains why he asked that. He said, "Well, in archaeology, if you got," which that's the spirit of Esau. He's been doing that. He's been going and digging up, reading the scriptures and digging things up, okay, to see if it's true. Now, what this guy said is the reason he asked about the arrows. He said, when a city was besieged in those times and under attack, it would in that time frame they would have shoot it with arrows. So he said, "Did you find any arrows?" Okay, and the response from the guy was, because it was being recorded on camera, he said, "I can't, there was no arrows, but what he can say is that it was basically taken down from a heat event." Right? So this, the guy goes and said, "Look, well, when they turn off the cameras, we swarm the guy." We said, "What do you mean a heat event? You need to expand on that." And they gave him many, many examples. Now, one of the examples he gave was he spoke about Trinitite. Right? They found this pottery, and on one side of the pottery it was glazed, and it was glazed in a fashion that is called, according to the historians, was a technology that really came about in the time of the Ottomans. Okay, 1000 AD. All right, the Ottoman Empire. But the other side was just classic Bronze Age pottery, as they deem it, as Esau's scholars deem it. Okay, so they sent it off to a science lab to be checked, and the science lab came back and said, "Yeah, this is basically of the composition of Trinitite." So I looked up, which he explains what Trinitite is. Now I'm going to get Trinitite for you here, right? This is Wikipedia for Trinitite. Trinitite, also known as atomsite or Alamogordo glass, is the glassy residue left on the desert floor after the plutonium-based Trinity nuclear bomb test on July 16, 1945, near Alamogordo, New Mexico. And it goes on to basically explain that it's a blend, okay? It says, and it was melted by the atomic blast. All right. So they start researching and looking into it. And these scientists, these scholars, they say, well, it was like a meteor. All right, because it had to come from the sky. They looked at the angle, that there was like a skeleton of a man, and his top half was gone. There was like a 4-foot wall, and his top half was gone. There was like a certain height wall. And as he was standing, his top half was completely obliterated, but his bottom half, there was still remains. So they were saying that it was coming from an angle. Now, obviously, we know, according to the scriptures, that Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed by fire and brimstone, okay? And that was pretty much that fire, that nuclear technology, okay, that the Lord brought upon Sodom and Gomorrah. And the Lord's going to bring that fire again upon the modern day Sodom, all right, by way of the thermonuclear destruction, the thermonuclear weapons, and also the lasers from the ships. But the key point is that the guy said it came from the sky. They put it down to a meteor, right? The heat event. Well, we know what that is, okay? We know that the Lord destroyed that place with fire, okay? And pretty much that heat event, okay, through the thermonuclear destruction and the lasers from the chariots, that heat event is coming to the modern day Sodom, which is America, all right? And that is going to be a desert land, okay? Now, having said that, and since I'm focusing on Sodom, I want to go to 2 Peter's, right? Because you got legislation defending that, right? But let's go to the law first. Let's see what the law has to say about it. And this, the law is pretty straightforward, man. It says, Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, how do you lie with a woman? You have sex with her, right? Both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. All right? That's the law. Now, is that being upheld in this society? No. In the opposite, really that's being protected, as we can see with the example of Brazil. All right? And that all, again, that stems out of those tentacles from Babylon, from America, which is modern day Sodom, man. All right? Let's go to from there to 2 Peter's. All right, verse 6. It says, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly. So Sodom and Gomorrah the destruction that happened there is an example of how not to live, right? And delivered just Lot, which Lot was, he came back reincarnated as an Israelite because he was of this, he was of the righteous. Scriptures talk about just Lot, righteous Lot. Vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. Okay, which Lot would, Abraham's nephew, he would have come out of, that's the sons of God, man. All right. Same thing with Abraham. Abraham would come back reincarnated as an Israelite. Okay, because Israel was established after Jacob. Okay, whose name was changed to Israel. And Jacob being the grandson of Abraham. It says, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. And I was thinking about the scripture when I was reasoning with the Akim, because that's what we do. We vent, we're vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked that we see. All right? And Lot was in the heart of it, man. All right? It says, for that righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. And that's exactly how we feel, okay, when we go about our day in this wicked society. Okay, the Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished, which ultimately Lot was saved out of that, okay, and his 2 daughters, but everyone else perished, man, including Lot's wife. The scriptures talk about, remember Lot's wife, because she looked back, and the Lord instructed them not to do that. And as Apostle Tar has mentioned before, the Lord put a force field, okay, on their back so they wouldn't get hit. Now, that's what's coming to the modern day America, man. All right? How do we know that? Let's go to, let's see what Jeremiah 50 could get Isaiah. Actually, let's get there's a couple scriptures. That's not exactly what I want. There we go. This is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 5. It says, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. What's that talking about? Okay, that's talking about the fire that the Lord's bringing. How do we know that? Isaiah 66 and 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So when Yahushua comes with the angels, he's bringing that straight fire. He wanted to bring the fire back in the Roman Empire, but he had to, it was his father's will. He had to be that sacrifice. He had to fulfill his lot. Okay. This time, man, the Lord, when he come, man, the scripture said, I'm not going to meet you as a man. Okay. He said he's coming as a power. Okay. He's coming as a force to be reckoned with, man. All right. And America is going to be completely nuked by that fire. This is Revelation 18 and 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And that's talking about them desert dwelling creatures and them birds that are going to be them unclean, them desert type birds that are going to be out there, okay, dwelling in that land. Okay, men ain't going to be dwelling there. Okay, scriptures talk about the Arabians shall not pitch tent there. There ain't going to be no business there, nothing like that. That's just going to be a monument onto what happens when, wickedness reigns, man. Okay, that America is going to be that monument of destruction. Okay, and the same way that Sodom and Gomorrah is talked about in that destruction, the destruction that's coming upon America, man, that whole continent, that is going to be a great destruction. Okay, and the whole land is going to be on fire. Now I want to get another precept in 2 Timothy's verse 3. And this ties into pretty much how the people are in this society. This society is really the only way I'm going to be careful how I say this, because I know they'd be ticking them videos off of YouTube, taking it down. I'll just say that it's been happytized. Everything's just really soft. There's no order. It's just chaos. And you got a generation upon generation, the newer generation are just, man, they're just, they're gone, man. Unless they're of the elect, or they're of the elect's households, they're of the elect, they're gone. Right? They had no chance. This is 2 Timothy 3:3. It says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come." All right. Now, righteous Lot was in that time. He was having to deal with this wickedness. Well, we're looking around us and we're seeing it, man. Okay. In this time. It says, "In the last days perilous times shall come." All right. "For men shall be lovers of their own selves." That's that vanity, that selfishness, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. And it goes on and on. And pretty much, man, when you go verse 4, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. That's that lovers of pleasures. Well, that's like that Epicurean spirit, man. Okay? And that's not the kind of spirit that you want to be in. Okay? Really, you want to be more in a stoic mentality. Okay? A disciplinarian, if you will, in this kingdom, man. Okay? We are the disciples of Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And that's why, man, when we see this unrighteousness around us, we can't wait for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai to destroy this place. Okay? And anyone else, and any of those Asherites over there, or you got Judah over there and different tribes. But I'm just focusing on Brazil. That are backing that are siding with the devil and following after those ways. You're gonna get destroyed for that. Okay? You want to ride with that instead of coming back onto Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and repenting, then you're gonna get destroyed for that, man. All right, that's wickedness. Okay. There should be protests against that, but hey, we're in a wicked society, man. So that's how it goes. But the Lord's gonna bring an end to it, just as He bring it to ancient Sodom. Well, the Lord's gonna bring it to the modern day Sodom, that great city, America. Okay, but in an even more destructive and powerful way. All right. So, hey, man, hope this has been an edifying lesson in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bahasham Kakadash. With that, man, I'm going to say shalom. Shalom to the elect.